Well, the BBC TV series, apparently from 1986. I think it was around that time. Uh, was delivered yesterday, the DVDs of it, the BBC TV series. Uh, the Singing Detective by Dennis Potter, playwright, the screenwriter, playwright, whatever. And it's a 6-part series, each episode lasting about an hour. And it's a pretty effective one. It's the best TV drama I've seen. I ain't seen many latter day ones. But despite it being dated and flawed, it's a really effective piece of drama. It deals with themes like fantasy and reality, the writing process, institutions like the education system, religion, the medical profession, in a way that says a lot about the time, and is, in my opinion, like I say, dated and flawed. The drama itself is also dated in the sense, although, like I said, I can't really compare it to latter day drama because I haven't really seen anything like to compare it with. But The Singing Detective does strike me as a piece of popular psychology, effectively. The way it draws what could be seen as disparate elements, disparate events into a coherent narrative of the role of a dramatist. The way it overemphasises the influence of childhood, which I think, if it's not dated, is not accurate. And as a piece of popular psychology, tying together disparate elements, works as drama, but not as science sort of thing. And that sort of leads, which sort of reminds me of how I introduce these videos, with this and a drink. There's this guy on YouTube who does a similar thing before starting his videos. Now I do it so I can collect my thoughts and just get into the right condition for starting off these monologues. But whether it's influenced by that fella, I don't think so. It's a disparate event. It's a separate event. Although you could say, well, yeah, you watch this. To me, it's not like that. When I thought, yeah, I'll do this, I was thinking, that's what, you do sort of make up your own mind, and like, I don't think many people make that assumption. Many people who've sort of got a degree of wit about them. You're not. I don't think most people think as simply as that. But anyway, in The Singing Detective, Potter depicts a degree of deference towards Later on, a cynicism towards religion, but a deference towards the medical profession, and in a way, even the writing process. But he sort of does, if that was his intention, show why that sort of. How can I put it? That odd relationship with the writing process to the material took place. If that was his intention, it may not have been his intention. But the job of a dramatist, like I say, is to tie up disparate elements, what could be disparate elements, into a coherent narrative. Otherwise he wouldn't have got the screenplay adapted. But like I looked up, his depiction, not only of the medical profession, which like was of its time, and psychiatry, and in particular his relationship with a psychiatrist, which sort of is really dated. I don't know much about psychiatry. I don't think. I've only got on what I've seen and can gather. But going on Potter's depiction of the relationship between the lead character, apparently the screenplay was semi-autobiographical, but it reminded me of a scene from Jacob Malinowski's 1970s series, The Ascent of Man, where he uses the example of Auschwitz to say what can take place when science goes wrong. And he says, when people believe they have absolute knowledge with no test in reality, the Holocaust, is what men do when they aspire to the knowledge of God. And that's sort of, I don't think, despite depictions I'll be given of psychiatry, and maybe throughout its history, and maybe at certain times, it's had that about it, that's sort of the thing I'd question about his depiction between the lead character and the psychiatrist. It sort of elevates the psychiatrist to some sort of what is it? What did I say? Interesting, some sort of that he confers on the psychiatrist some sort of knowledge of the gods. But yeah, now as for the writing process, when I wrote a pretty well-known piece of material in 1996, I didn't have the thought processes. My thought process didn't work the way it worked in that drama. Now, it's a piece of drama. What he wrote, and sort of mine was sort of what I've talked about before, prescience and sort of thing, about how certain people would go. Possibly it started going on about things. Well, I think it started going on about things, and would then develop that sort of thing. I don't need to name names, do I? Not that I see any necessity to. At times I do. When it's relevant, sort of thing. But yeah, that's not how my thought processes worked at all. Now, I don't think it would have been how Potter's thought processes worked as well, either. Despite it being a dramatisation of the writing process. I could talk about what took place subsequently, in terms of what took place with psychiatrists in the lead up to my direct involvement with psychiatrists. But I talked about that before. But yeah, but yeah, my mental processes weren't anything like Dennis Potter's, or I've not come across any depiction of the writing process that sort of parallels what my thought processes were. Way back, what is it now? Nearly 30 years. It's coming up next year to 30 years. But yeah, The Singing Detective, good piece of drama. I'll leave it there because I want to have a little think about what else to say about it and a few other things. Yeah, sort of thinking of The Singing Detective and Malinowski's view of science, and sort of comparing art with science. They both sort of try to encapsulate things, and modern approaches sort of do that, but sort of don't aspire to the knowledge of gods. Sort of acknowledge that there's what is it? It's a lock. Sort of acknowledge that they don't have absolute knowledge with tests in reality, with no test in reality, that they don't have absolute knowledge, that they don't have absolute knowledge with no test in reality, if that makes sense. I don't even know if that makes sense. But anyway, they don't. People don't fall into that trap. I don't fall into that trap. Sort of thing. I'm good at what I do. I'm good. I think referring back to what I wrote in 1996, many people did have a pretty good idea, well, at least some idea that I was pretty good. That was a pretty, it seems to me anyway, in some instances, that was a pretty good piece of writing in many ways. But yeah, during the watching of The Singing Detective, of course, there's the usual stuff that I get when I'm watching stuff. It's just that's the way it is. But like, I wanted to watch it as a piece of drama, and at the end there was an attempt to draw me into some type of response about my time, about times during the amalgam era, especially towards the culmination of the series, which I'm not really, sometimes I argue the toss, but it's not. I don't want to devote my life to arguing the toss. about those times and what I've called the high period of the architects. Um, but like I say, when I want to, when I think it's a useful thing to do, I'll refer to the architects. I'll refer to their high period. I'll refer to the amalgam era. But sort of like I say about art and science, it both sort of try to encapsulate things. Uh, uh, and yeah, like the more modern approaches don't aspire to the knowledge of gods. Even though, like I said, I'm somehow I became very good at what I do. Did I mention? Oh, I think forgot to mention it. Yeah, the Singing Detective. I think I've mentioned this. Overplays the role of childhood in ways that, if they weren't known when Potter wrote I don't think they were. They must have been. Or maybe they weren't. When Potter wrote the play, wrote the TV series, the screenplay for the TV series, must be known now that it sort of does overplay the role of childhood. But again, it's tied up disparate elements into a drama, basically, and that's what dramas do. But again, it's like essentially, to my thinking, a piece of popular psychology that is for TV, which at the time was dated and flawed. But its positives, performances, really good performances. Not across the board, but some really good performances. Some interesting, quite a smart piece of drama, I think. In many ways, a bit, weak in some parts, but overall, some pretty good stuff. Yeah, some pretty good stuff. But yeah, glad I watched it. But what I watch now, I haven't got the slightest fucking idea. No idea whatsoever. Like I said, that's the best thing I can remember. Best TV series I can remember. The best drama, TV drama that I can remember seeing. So where I'll go from there, I do not know. At the moment, all I've really got to look at are the opening titles to early 1970s series called Van der Valk. A sequence from a film called Blazing Saddles, and a sequence from a film called The Producers that I included in the last video that I did. But yeah, so yeah, my involvement with psychiatry, from my point of view, it's coming to a close. I'm weaning myself off psychiatric medication, as it's called. They haven't come round. Cause I think they'd come here and then go away with a whole load of, which is often the case, a whole load of concerns that they go running around off the back of, I have to like sort of get on with my day and sort of manage what they do, sort of thing. Deal with what they do and sort of thing. In sort of an ongoing approach, but like I said, it's like I said, I think in the last video, it is sort of doing me good. But to assume that, like I said, if there is any closure, it's any closure, any denouement. It is not just like that. It's like gradual disengagement from direct involvement with psychiatric services, and more of a, and more of a, gradual return to whatever I'm presenting there, and getting more to a sense of the way things need to be done, which, like I say, I've encapsulated pretty well, at least to myself. In light of quite a few things, it does sort of make sense to sort of approach things in the sort of do things in the way the way I'm doing. But yeah, I think that's about it. Let me have a pause there and see if I can think of anything else. So yeah, Singing Detective, well worth watching. If you haven't watched it already, anyone watching this, which I'm sort of guessing you have, maybe quite a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, I could get all involved with the drama and go over it, but I think I've sort of despite it being a piece of popular psychology, essentially, in many ways, it's a pretty good drama, despite its flaws. It does have its strengths. But yeah, I may in another video refer back to it. Yeah, talking about the Peter Wright nodded in 1996. I sort of, judging from what took place in the lead up to my direct involvement with psychiatrists, I got right what the architects, and let's call them their mates, would do, which I've sort of said, would tie disparate events, which they didn't know much about, if anything, in the state they were in, with the motivation they had, in a way that was really dated popular psychology. I think since then things have advanced. Maybe that's off the back of the scenario that's taken place or took place over the years, may still be taking place. But yeah, back then, like I said, in the lead up to my direct involvement with psychiatrists, it was sort of pretty obvious that in '96 I pretty much got right what the likes of the architects and, for want of a better phrase, their mates would do, which would be to, like I say, not only mischaracterise events, but try to make connections between them in a really popular psychology type way, a dumbed down way, as I keep saying. That used to be a really popular phrase. Whether it still is, I don't know. Like I said, I think things have advanced since then. But the essential thing is that yeah, it's my intention with the people who will have, I'm sure, been involved in keeping the my direct involvement with psychiatrists on hold, if not drawn it to a close, which I'm not sure about, but we'll see. Then if more meetings take place with psychiatric workers, that's then that'll just be the way it is. But like I said, it's my intention to bring that direct involvement at the very least to an end. I mean, why am I even saying this? There are such is the nature of the attention that's devoted to me that seems really odd. That there are different professions and disciplines and people and so on and so forth, sort of interested, and it's like okay, well, it's I suppose it is quite interesting in ways what took place and. May still take place, but with me, that's with other people. No, it's pretty interesting what's taking place with me. To me, I suppose it's of interest to other people. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the situation is when depends on what other people do. I do come completely off these chemicals. At the moment, I'm adopting erring on the side of caution with these chemicals. I'm not sure whether I can come completely off them just like that or do it gradually. I'm doing it gradually. And then take things from there. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. With this direct involvement with psychiatric workers, where sometimes, and I've mentioned this before, especially when you're doped up. I don't think I'd react like this if I wasn't doped up, but you can sort of make the mistake yourself. I've mentioned this before, of sort of slotting into old roles, deferential roles. Which, like I said, flawed and dated in your interaction with these people. When in reality, my involvement with them is no different to my involvement with any other people in any substantial sense. But yeah. Um, hmm. I'll have to think about that. Anyway, Singing Detective, like I said, well worth watching. And like I said, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to watch next. Something may be suggested to me. I'm open to that if it's worthwhile watching. But it'd be. I mean, I'd quite like to select something myself to watch. You know, it'd make a change from how many decades has it been? Anyway.